Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host, Alamdar Khan. And yes, as you know, we give you sports information from all across the globe. You guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. That basically works both for Twitter and for Instagram. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. Yes, from the world of PSL, Islamabad United versus Karachi Kings is being played today, while Multan Sultan beat Peshawar Zalmi by 8 wickets, and Islamabad United literally bulldozed Qalandars in a stunning turnaround. And yes, from the world of French Open, Djokovic finally beat Tsitsipas in the French Open final on Sunday, while Barbora Krejcikova won her maiden Grand Slam single title of the year in French Open on Saturday. And yes, from the world of NBA, Milwaukee Bucks beat Brooklyn Nets 107-96, while Suns defeat the Nuggets 125-118 on Monday. And yes, from the world of football, Denmark midfielder Christian Eriksen suffered cardiac arrest during Euros match against Finland. And yes, those were the headlines. And yes, talking about PSL, what an interesting turn of events in terms of the PSL. Yes, as discussed, Islamabad United will be playing Karachi Kings today. However, obviously now the morale would surely be very high. But you know, we would want to discuss more in-depth analysis on two of the very interesting matches. Obviously, one of the match was Multan Sultan beating Peshawar Zalmi by 8 wickets, and the other one was surely Islamabad United finally managing to win over Lahore Qalandars, which we'll definitely be discussing with our first-class cricketer. And that is probably the only way that we can have more in-depth analysis. Awais, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Alamdar.
Great. So as we'll start off with the first match that I want to talk about, obviously, Multan Sultan beating Peshawar Zalmi by 8 wickets. So what's your take on this match that happened on Saturday?
It was a good match, I would say. A good fight by Multan Sultan, because you remember Multan Sultan is one of the teams who have been in and out in the tournament. They have been performing well. They have been gone through bad patches. I still feel, Peshawar Zalmi has got every strength in them. The bowling is good, but it's the batting, because many of them might not might agree with me, but still I feel that Peshawar Zalmi batting needs to be clicked. What Peshawar Zalmi was in the previous tournaments, if you remember the Pakistan Super League,
right.
You open up with Haider Ali. I remember Haider Ali hasn't been good when the Pakistan Super League started on this edition, I would say, especially in Abu Dhabi when it started. He hasn't been clicking what Haider Ali is known for.
Right.
In yesterday's match, one thing was good, that he actually stood there for 28 runs, but still, he's one of the players, I would say, a flamboyant cricketer, what everyone loves to watch on, and everyone wishes to have him in the team and wish that he scores huge runs for them, because he's one of the players, I would say, who has to forget that 25-26 is not my game. I need to go for 50s and convert that into 100, because you're one of the main face of Pakistan team now, even too. Rest Kamran Akmal, again, I would say Kamran Akmal scored 35 runs. He has been doing well in the Pakistan Super League from the start of the first Pakistan Super League. But still, what actually the opening department, Peshawar Zalmi want, and especially the middle order, has not been clicking up for them. So it's a really concern sign for Peshawar Zalmi, I would say, because even yesterday, if you just watch out, Shoaib Malik went early on. He went on duck. Dani was superb with the ball. Then David Miller hasn't been that killer machine what Peshawar Zalmi wanted. So there are some problems going on, but still it's a good side. They still are not out of the tournament. They can bounce back, but I see the position for fourth, especially, it's going to be a fight between Multan Sultan and Peshawar Zalmi.
Right. It surely is interesting to see, but about Multan Sultan, I think obviously when we talk about Mohammad Rizwan, Mr. Consistent is also there. But yes, Shahnawaz Dahani, I think, what a phenomenal bowler, and I think this young lad has a long way to go in the world of cricket.
See, Shahnawaz Dahani, getting 4 wickets for 31 runs, and what I love about him is that, see, you have got that experience. He's not much experienced fast bowler, I would say. He has played a lot less Qaid-e-Azam Trophy matches too, but still, he's got that aggression what a fast bowler wants. If you just watch out his body language, he's hungry for wickets.
Right.
He's hungry for pace. I mean, the way he was bowling yesterday, especially the ball to Shoaib Malik, it was pacey, it was nippy. It felt that he is learning from his mistakes. It felt that he's hungry for his place in the Pakistan team, and
Right.
that's a good sign. A youngster getting up 4 wickets in the tournament, because I remember when you just before the COVID-19 situation, when unfortunately the PSL was winded up. You remember one match where he was gone for many runs, and you could look from his face that he is actually broken. But
Right.
the way he came back in this, especially Pakistan Super League, I would say that was phenomenal. He has been performing well, and he's a pure youngster, pure product who has been working hard for the Multan Sultan. And I really see him in the Pakistan team in near future.
Yep.
He's doing is superb. He's got everything in him. But again, Alamdabai, the thing is that they're youngsters.
Right.
They really need to be handled carefully, because
True.
remember a guy from Islamabad United, Akif, I mean, who bowled brilliantly in the last match, not the match which Islamabad won against Islamabad United, the previous match. He
Right.
really bowled well. It was against Quetta. He was nippy, but he has gone through a lot of, I would say, injuries. I mean, he was out for, if I'm not wrong, for half an year. So
Right.
you really need to this bowlers. They really need to be handled carefully. It's not that they're youngsters.
Right.
You make them play each and every game in the tournament.
Right. Let's hope for the best. Actually, seeing a brighter future for the Hani. Would want to talk about the next match, which was a super match. To be very honest, I think one of the most exciting matches so far. Islamabad United grabbing the victory over Lahore Qalandars. And to be very honest, if we look at the whole situation of the collapse, the Qalandars lost 7 wickets for the addition of just 14 runs in 26 deliveries. What a match.
Uh, yeah, I mean, see, I mentioned yesterday on my social media and the Twitter account that this Lahore Qalandar, it's one of the teams like Pakistan. I mean, sometimes it just gives you a boost that, oh, the way they are playing on, they're unmatchable, and sometimes they just give you a heart failure.
Right.
I don't know what happened to them. I mean, Lahore Qalandar is a fabulous side. Unfortunately, it's a totally different side now. If you just remember from the edition one, I remember they used to go on a big names. They never had the I would say a match-winning players who could actually win the matches for them, a proper gelled-up unit.
Right.
But they have changed that gradually. Remember, from 2 to 3, from the two sessions, I would say, of Pakistan Super League, I've seen Lahore Qalandars actually learning from the mistake what they had done. They haven't gone for very big names. They have gone for the players who can actually perform in this kind of situation. So they are a good side, but it's again, I would say that you need to be a team unit over here. You just can't depend on Fakhar Zaman. You just can't depend 24/7 on Ben Dunk or Mohammad Hafiz or Sohail Akhtar that they would give you a good start and you would carry the momentum from here. You need to be a gelled up unit to win a tournament. And it was unfortunate, I would say, but still you need to applaud Islamabad United, especially the captain Shadab Khan. I know he was a lot under criticism in the first match what they played against Lahore Qalandars, where he unfortunately gave the ball to Talat Hussain
Right.
to ball on. He was superb with the captain. The youngsters of Islamabad United, especially, they are bowling well. They are doing the hard work over here. They gave a good fight to Lahore Qalandar and they broke the backbone of them.
Well, I'm surely looking forward for the upcoming match, of course, the match that's today, Islamabad United versus the Karachi Kings. How do you see it more developing for Islamabad United? Because if we look at charts right now, in terms of Islamabad United right now is on the standing-wise on the top. Obviously, besides that, Lahore Qalandars is with them. But the point is, I think these major turn of events have actually lifted them up. So do you think their morale would surely go up this time?
I'm actually more happy to see Hassan Ali versus Babar Azam. I mean, one of the best batsmen in the world. I mean, it's going to be a lovely contest today.
Right.
And Karachi Kings has got a lot of firepower in the batting order. They have got Babar Azam. Obviously, is going to open up Sharjeel Khan with Martin Guptill. You know what Martin Guptill can be to the other team. So they have got a lot of power in the batting, and they have got a good gelled up unit for against, I would say, in the Pakistan Super League. But the way Islamabad United, especially I would say the local boys, the way they have been handling the pace battery, the youngsters,
Right.
especially, they're doing a fabulous job over here. So it's really going to be a tough match today. But again, I would say one thing that what I've been saying on, you just can't depend on 1 or 2 players. I mean, you need to be a gelled up unit to win a match or win a tournament. So Karachi Kings need to know that we just can't depend on 2 to 3 opening batsmen. We need to
Absolutely.
build up unit over here to win the match. And
Absolutely.
for
And as you
Islamabad-
mentioned, Babar Azam on one side, surely, and a big learning element for Islamabad United in terms of Haider Ali, because we still think that, there's so much more that can actually develop, to be honest, in terms of performing like this. But I think it's going to be interesting because of the fact that, Islamabad United had this amazing victory recently, which kind of, I'm sure, would have definitely lifted them up. So I think it would probably be more on, maybe the positive body language of the Islamabad United team.
Personally, one thing, Alamdar bhai, I mean, if you just watch out, they're positive. Obviously, when you win a match, you finish on a higher note, and they have won 2 matches in a row. One thing, I mean, I would say, especially about Islamabad United, it's that the batting, I mean, because many of them have been complaining about openers are doing a good job. Colin
Right.
Monroe, what killer machine he is. Osman Khwaja is not an aggressive kind of a player, but he knows how to rotate the strike, how to pick up gaps in
Right.
between for the bond. Personally feel so the middle order actually, Shadab Khan has been an issue for them. I know he performed well in the last Pakistan Super League when he batted down the order as a captain. He led them from the front,
Right.
but still feel so that the position of Shadab Khan does not suit over there. I might be wrong, but I feel so because you need to allow the other batsmen, Iftikhar Ahmed or you got Asif Ali, to
Right.
bat at that position because even you have got Ruhail Nazir who has been a one down position because he's one of the batsmen who has actually always opened up for the Pakistan under 19s. So I think so that position even is not suiting Ruhail Nazir, but he's one of the players, again, a promising cricketer, a lovely cover drives, but unfortunately, like you were mentioning about Haider Ali, one problem what we have is that a guy performs in 1 or 2 matches,
Right.
we start comparing him with the greats, so like Kane Williamson, Babar Azam or Virat Kohli or ex like Ricky Ponting and all that. So
Right.
that's the thing that we need to forget on. See, if it's Ruhail Nazir or if it's Haider Ali, they are Haider Ali and Ruhail Nazir. They won't be a second Ricky Ponting. They need to work hard to be a second Ricky Ponting or any
Absolutely.
legend in the world. They need to give the
Absolutely, Awais,
100%.
and I think it surely is a learning phase for them, and I think they should continue their journey of learning. But anyways, Awais, thank you so very much for being a part of the show and discussing the in-depth analysis from the world of PSL. Thank you very much. So yes, that was pretty much the in-depth analysis of PSL. So what we need to do is we take a quick break. Once we get back from the break, there is more coming from the world of sports. So see you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back from the break. And yes, before the break, we were discussing the world of cricket. And yes, it has been an interesting journey in the world of cricket. But surely we'd want to talk more about other sports as well that we mostly do. Now I'm going to talk about French Open. Yes, French Open, finally we managed to come up to a point of seeing that Djokovic finally beat Tsitsipas in the French Open final. But anyways, to discuss the in-depth analysis of not only his victory, but obviously Krejcikova also made her maiden Grand Slam title win. So to discuss in-depth analysis about the French Open, we have with us Amy all the way from US. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Great. So Amy, first things first, Djokovic finally managed to grab that title against Tsitsipas. Obviously, it had been an interesting match to begin with. And getting here, obviously, he had to, the big match that was back there was Rafael Nadal also losing to him. So what's your take on this victory that goes to him?
Well, Djokovic has now won each of the Grand Slams twice with this victory, and that may cement him as the greatest to ever play the sport. It was an incredible run for Djokovic at Roland Garros. He had 2 matches in the final arguments of this Grand Slam where he was down 2 sets and came back to win in 5. So he is really making a case that he is what they call the GOAT. The GOAT is the greatest ever to play the game.
Right.
And he did it with really good defense, an amazing return game, and the use of the drop shot.
Absolutely. I mean, if we look into, obviously, his struggle to begin with, he's now become the first man in 52 years to win all 4 majors twice, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, absolutely. And the really interesting thing and the really exciting thing for the world of sports is, sorry, my cat, is that the Grand Slam is in play, the calendar year Grand Slam.
Right.
So that would be winning each of the 4 Grand Slams in 1 year.
Right. This surely is going to be a remarkable year for him. Obviously, things have changed and twisted with regards to the pandemic situation for all sorts of sports. We'll surely get to that in a bit, because we can definitely talk about how it has impacted all the players. But I'd rather want to talk about the semi-final, how he managed to beat, obviously, when it comes to obviously Nadal, he has his own place, and it was obviously one of the most crucial matches for him to get where he is, and now obviously he won. So what's your take on that semi-final in which he managed to win as well?
I mean, think about it. He beat the king of clay, the
Correct.
13-time Roland Garros champion in Rafael Nadal.
Right.
And he did it pretty convincingly. He did it in 4 sets. And he really outsmarted Nadal, particularly in the area of 0 to 4 shots. He outlasted Nadal. And even though they're only a year apart, Djokovic is only a year younger, he really had the better legs and the better fitness in that match.
Right. And even if we look at the stats, if we talk about obviously Djokovic's stats in terms of the final, if we talk about obviously the aces, Tsitsipas had 14 aces to begin with, and but Djokovic actually managed to have 5. But I think he played more on the solid side and more on the consistent side to be where he is right now.
Well, think about it. Tsitsipas won the first 2 sets, and Tsitsipas had 7 aces in the first set.
Right.
Then Djokovic held him to 7 aces for the rest of the match. So Novak really upped his return game and figured out a way to neutralize that Tsitsipas serve. And the courts were watered twice in the middle of the match. That slowed things down.
Right.
That really helped Novak. I mean, that's something that's normally done anyway,
Right.
but Novak figured out a way to use it to his advantage.
Right. Even in terms of obviously Tsitsipas performance-wise, I think he's surely one of the phenomenal players in the world of tennis out there.
Oh, yeah. He's only 22 years old. He needs to add a few elements to his game. He has the one-handed backhand, which works really well for him, but he's not really known for his slice backhand. Right. So he needs to add that piece to his game.
But I think in the long run, I mean, as you said, a young lad who'd surely want to try, and with a lot of experience and with time, because if we talk about clay in terms of speed, agility, yes, obviously Rafael Nadal himself is surely a legend when it comes to clay. But yes, I think with time, with the pace that he has, I think he is absolutely in the right direction.
Oh, yeah. Tsitsipas is a legitimate star. He's one of the ones that will help us transition when the big 3 retire. And you've got Tsitsipas, you've got Daniil Medvedev, Andrei Rublev. These guys are going to be very compelling and entertaining figures in the world of tennis for years to come.
Right. I wish them the very best. We surely will be sharing more on this. Okay, let's talk about the interesting win. Obviously, let's talk about Krejcikova's win, the first maiden Grand Slam single title in the French Open. Obviously, how do you see her performing? Because I think it was pretty much a one-sided final for her.
Yeah, and look, she kind of came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting, nobody had picked this girl if you started at the beginning of the French Open. But she really did it with consistency from the baseline, and she's an interesting player. She has a varied game. She will not let the other player get into a tempo. She really varies her speeds and spins. So she'll give you a heavy top spin ball from the baseline, and then she'll give you something with underspin that's more like a straight arrow.
Right.
So for a lot of the women's players that like an even tempo in their rallies, she was a nightmare. And she really composed herself very well. And she's a great champion. She'll be one to watch.
And she is right now the first Czech woman in 40 years, to get this Roland Garros tournament. But it is super interesting to see the turn of events in terms of new players that are actually emerging and grabbing title. It's not only the world of tennis, but I've seen it lately in terms of golf. There have been so many major news that actually come out. So what do you think all these players have learned during these COVID times? Because I think the COVID time situations have made them to adapt to a different what do you call it, behavior, I guess, or learning? Because once you learn, only then can you personally move on and be that player that has to be in these days.
You know, that is a great point. I think that it has taught all these athletes resilience and flexibility. I need to roll with it. I can't have my routines exactly the way I want. There are rules to follow. There's a lot of discomfort. I have to be in these quarantines. And then I have to get out there and still perform at elite levels at my sport. And I think this entire generation of athletes will be changed by this pandemic, as we all will.
Absolutely. In terms of that, we've seen different players. Like I remember there was this one particular tournament in Australia, and if I'm not wrong, there was this one player who actually literally started crying because he just could not perform.
Yeah, can you imagine what those players had to go through in Australia? The extreme government restrictions. They were locked in their hotel room for weeks and could not practice. And then they had to come out and play. It's a journey that they went on, and they came through on the other side, and some did better with it than others, but all will be changed by it for sure.
Right. One last take that I would want to hear from you. Obviously, let's talk a bit about Naomi Osaka. Obviously, she's also going through a journey and maybe raising voice in terms of mental health. All these situations, the emerging situations, I think she's one of the most highly paid athlete in the world, when it comes to, an athlete. But obviously, she's also going through all those mental health situation scenarios. So what's your take on the whole situation when she actually withdrew after the first match?
It's complicated. It's a very nuanced situation. Number one, her mental health and her overall health is the most important thing.
Right.
And we all need, as fans and as a society, we all need to support her.
Right.
That being said, in the rules and in your contracts and part of the sport is an obligation to meet with the press, as uncomfortable as that can sometimes be.
Right.
So if she was not in a position to fulfill her obligations, then she probably shouldn't have been in the tournament in the first place.
Right.
And her team around her needs to, her managers, her agents, those who are close to her,
Right.
need to support her, help her, and monitor her health,
Right.
and make sure that she is, in fact, fit to play these tournaments. But that being said, I hope that she can play Wimbledon and that she gets the therapy, the help, and the support that she needs.
Absolutely, Amy. Well, thank you so very much for being a part of the show and discussing the in-depth analysis from the world of tennis.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
You too. So that was pretty much in-depth analysis of when we come about and when we talk about the world of tennis. Pretty much in-depth analysis, but yes, I think it was pretty much it. And yes, mental health surely is one of the major issues that we surely will be raising, not only for the athletes, but on individual levels as well. Anyways, I'll quickly jump over to the world of NBA. Yes, this is interesting, growing strong. Milwaukee Bucks beat Brooklyn Nets 107-96 in Game 4. Now, this is surely going to be an interesting take because Kyrie Irving injured as Bucks, even the series, which is 2-2. Now they have actually evened. And I remember the first two victories were there, but now, it's Game 4 and the Bucks are making a comeback, which is surely going to go a long way because the next three matches, and if they manage to stay this way, I think the Bucks may go up to the final side. Anyways, not to forget, the guard was ruled out at the halftime after spraining his right ankle. So the injuries part are so much developing in terms of the world of NBA that this is going to surely impact the Nets. And Kevin Durant finished with 28 points and 13 rebounds. But it's going to be interesting to see where exactly does this go. Anyways, the other one news is the Suns defeating the Nuggets 125-118. Yes, Chris Paul has dominated the performance for the Suns, and Paul scored 37 points against the Nuggets. So Chris Paul and Devin Booker actually combined 71 points, and the Suns are purely leading the Nuggets. Obviously, it was Game 4, so it's 4-0 for them. But anyway, the Suns will play either the LA Clippers or Utah Jazz in the spot for NBA Finals. So it's going to be an interesting take to see where this journey goes, and we'll surely be telling you guys about it. Quickly jumping over to the world of football. Yes, as we all know, this has been a major insight on Christian Eriksen, which our heart goes out to him, and we hope that he's much better. He obviously suffered a cardiac arrest during the Euros match, which was surely a disappointing situation in the Copenhagen Stadium. And I think all the athletes eventually, all the players, all the team members, they eventually covered him up, and all the prayers are going for him. We've been told that he's back to his normal self, but the thing was that it was surely a crucial moment, and the match had to be discontinued. I think the whole situation, it's human. Sometimes they just can't take it, but I think this whole situation has taught a lot of lessons. So I think he gets well soon. But anyways, this was pretty much it from the world of sports. You guys can surely reach out us on our social media handle, which is @Indus New Sports. Till then, take good care of yourself, and bye-bye.